The moons of Mars. The two tiny moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, were discovered in 1877 by Asaph Hall at the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. But their presence had been predicted 2.5 centuries earlier by Johannes Kepler. The prediction was erroneously based on an apparently simple sequence of increasing numbers of moons of successive planets. The sequence added one moon per planet, starting with Venus with no moon, the Earth with one, Mars with two, a suspected missing planet between Mars and Jupiter with three, and Jupiter with four. At the time of Kepler's prediction, Galileo had just discovered the 4 large moons of Jupiter. But we now know that Jupiter has many more small moons. Kepler's prediction was known to Jonathan Swift, who mentioned it in Gulliver's Travels. He described the inhabitants of the flying island of Laputa as having discovered 2 lesser stars or satellites which revolve around Mars. This sparked the popular belief that Mars had 2 tiny moons and caused considerable interest in searching for them. For many years, the moons of Mars escaped detection, probably because of their closeness to Mars, small size, and dark color. Several noted early astronomers, Herschel in 1783 and d'Arrest in 1864, had searched unsuccessfully for the satellites of Mars, but it was Hall who first observed both satellites in the summer of 1877. As is traditional after his discovery, Hall had the honor of naming these 2 tiny satellites. He wrote of his choice, "Of the various names that have been proposed for these satellites, I have chosen those suggested by Mr. Madden of Eton, England. Deimos for the outer satellite, Phobos for the inner satellite. These are generally the names for the horses that draw the chariot of Mars. But in lines referred to in the 15th book of the Iliad, they are personified by Homer and mean attendants or sons of Mars. He, Mars, spoke and summoned fear, Phobos, and flight, Deimos, to yoke his steeds." The orbits of both satellites were found to be nearly circular and close to the planet. Phobos orbits at a distance of about 9,378 kilometers from the center of Mars, and Deimos at about 23,459 kilometers. The orbital periods are expectedly short, 7 hours, 37 minutes for Phobos, and 30 hours, 18 minutes for Deimos. At first, the short periods were confusing to Hall, and he commented, "For several days the inner moon, Phobos, was a puzzle. It would appear on different sides of the planet in the same night. And at first I thought there were 2 or 3 inner moons. To decide this point, I watched the moons throughout the nights of August 20th and 21st and saw that there was in fact but one inner moon, which made its revolution around the primary in less than 1/3 the time of the primary's rotation, a case unique in the solar system." And that is the moons of Mars. Have a great day.